Ladies and gentlemen,
this is the one we've all been waiting for.
it's good night, freaking Irene! Let's get ready to rumble!
Time! And knows how to knock people the fire truck out.
On this episode of the Fight Chase Muay Thai and MMA podcast, we have a special guest, Manifest Mark Matthews. I met Mark back in probably 2014 or 15. He came into One Fight Team. He was just visiting and got some training in, and I had recognized him. I was like, man, he looks like the guy that was just on Ink Master. And I went up and talked to him, and he was, and we took a picture, and it was pretty cool, and he was a really nice guy. And I followed him all through the years on social media, and recently just reached out and asked him if he wanted to be on the podcast. He is a mixed martial artist, he is an MMA fighter, and he is one hell of a tattooer. So here's the episode with Manifest Mark Matthews. Enjoy. Mark Matthews, where did your martial arts interest journey begin?
Well, man, like every other kid, I watched all them kung fu movies every Saturday morning when I was a kid, and I was always a lifelong boxing fan. Like literally, I can remember watching Muhammad Ali get beat up on TV by Larry Holmes on CBS Sports back when fights like that were free. You know what I mean? But man, I've been blessed enough to be in that same lifetime see Mike Tyson. Like I got to see Muhammad Ali and Mike Tyson, bro. Like I feel like there's no two better boxers in the course of history. Like you're a fortunate man, and if you got something. But I remember thinking, like, man, all my friends kind of know what they want to be. I don't know what I want to be. So I was really just walking that day, thinking about I could either grow up and be a rapper, or I could grow up and be a fighter. And I was, at the time, there was like no white rappers. Vanilla Ice wasn't out yet, and the only white cats that were out were Everlast, way back when he was under Ice-T, and he was a gangster rapper type cat before he became Whitey Ford and all that, and House of Pain. And then there was also a group called Third Base out of New York, and they were just like some real lyrical MC, but not blow up type guys. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, so it looks like I'm probably going to be a fighter. Well, shortly after that, man, I kind of walked. I didn't have a good family life, man. So I ended up getting out in the streets and I gang banging, doing all that stuff that Californians kind of did at that time. And so I kind of strayed from that. And later on in life, when I started settling down again, I was about early 20s, and my ex-wife was pregnant with my daughter. And the day that my daughter was born, I had to come home from the hospital after everything was good to get my wife's overnight bag. Now, I'd always had a punching bag, even though I've never trained or anything, because I would be the guy that would like watch all the documentaries and listen to whatever the coaches were telling the fighters to do in the middle rounds. Like I remember one time, I want to say it might have been Shane Mosley against like De La Hoya, and or some. Did they even fight? Those yet?
I don't even follow boxing.
Well, long story short, I remember hearing a guy just little stuff like he was saying, jab him in his chest, make it like stiffen up his back. The next round, the dude went and jabbed him in his chest, and then the next round between the corner, he's complaining to his corner, my back is tight. So like I would just always pick up on things like that and utilize them in real life situations, because I was a white kid that lived in bad neighborhoods, and we kind of know how that goes. So this day, I would always kind of meditate whenever I was punching my bag. So I come home, I grab my wife's overnight bag, and I start punching on the punching bag. And I'm thinking to myself, like, man, how can I have my daughter grow up feeling secure as hell without sheltering her? Because I didn't want to shelter her. And for some reason, I thought of, at the time, Hogan Knows Best was a big deal. Remember that?
Yep.
And Brooke Hogan. And then I thought about Brooke Hogan, and I was like, man, her dad was a fake champion of the world, with all due respect, and she is swagged out because she knows she is safe anywhere she goes.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? man, I was 32 at the time, 32 or yeah, I was 32. No, maybe even 31. Yeah, 31 to 32. And I was like, you know what, man, I always wanted to do this, and I never did this. And I never made it. I never walked into a gym. I never did anything to go in that direction, you know. Um, so I started really thinking, and I was like, man, as I'm sitting there punching on the bag, I was like, man, this would be a perfect time and reason to do it. And I was like, I'll probably never make it to the UFC because in my head, the age, but I was like, I know I can win some belts at local promotions around here, and like she'll know her dad's the man. Like,
Yeah.
and that's all I want, my daughter to feel safe where she walks. And so yeah, man, that day I made the commitment to start training. So what I did is I was pretty out of shape because a lot of times when a guy goes through a pregnancy with the woman, like he eats how she does. So I was kind of frumpy, and so I went to the gym for a year to get myself into what I thought needed to be fight shape. And what I was doing, this is before CrossFit and all this type of stuff was out. Luckily, there was a bodybuilder champion at one of the gyms that I would work out at, and he would be like, man, why do you sit still after your sets? Why don't you walk around the gym, or why don't you do another exercise? And before CrossFit was even a thing, he kind of instilled some CrossFit lifting mentality in me. So like whenever I would hit the weight room, I would do a circuit of so many things. Like, and he was like, it's anaerobic, it's your cardio, it's your strength, this and that. So I was doing a bunch of that, and I got kind of big. And I remember the first time, like, so once a year into that, and I could run fast for like 30 minutes, like all the things that I thought needed to be conditioned to go into a fight gym. And I started looking for a fight gym. And man, I go to all these gyms, but they're like real martial arts gyms. They're not necessarily fight gyms. And when I would walk in, they were just too pretty. You know what I mean? And like all they wanted to talk about was their championship accolades and this and that, this and that. And so um I kind of I didn't give up on it, but like I stopped looking at some gyms, and I ended up working at a small tattoo shop outside of Sacramento, which is where I was living at the time. And everybody in that local area, I guess there was a small fight gym that was funded by the casino that was in the town of Jackson. So one day I just happened to, like, I hear enough about this place, and I'm like, man, let me go ahead and walk in here. So I walk in the building, and it's a bunch of good old boys in there. And they're wrestling, grappling, doing all the stuff that I'm not good at. And I walk in there, man. I'm sagging in some, like, probably some gerbo type shorts, a wife beater. I had long hair, all in braids at the time, hat off to the side, and I just walk in. But what was the dopest thing is the owner, the owner was the coach, and his dad was in the gym, and he's just a little cockstrong old man. Like, he looks like he could just lift barrels above his head and throw them like Donkey Kong if he needed to. And he just walks up to me, and his very first words were, "Are you here to fight, son?" And I was just like, "Oh yeah." And next thing you know, like I started training there, and like that's actually a pretty dope story too, because so that day they tell me when the next training is, or they say, "Hey, yeah, come in tomorrow, this and that, this and that." And I'm like, okay. They tell me, make sure you eat a pretty good meal about an hour before. So what I did is my dumb ass goes and eats a ton of sushi
Oh shit!
like an hour before, thinking, because I'm like, man, it's clean food. So I go train, and man, I'm not even there for like 10, 15 minutes, and I start throwing up.
Yeah.
But I would throw up and get right back at it. Throw up, get right back at it. Like, I filled about a quarter of an office garbage can with puke. So when I was done with the training, they were like, man, when can you come back? And I was like, the next few weekends. I had caught a traffic ticket that I needed to do some work project for. So I was like, I won't be back for another 2 weeks, but I will be back. So at the end of those 2 weeks, 2 days before the practice, the entire fight team comes up to my tattoo shop with the owner and the dad. And they just come in, and they're like, hey, man, like, we know you said you'll be back, but a lot of people say shit. And we just kind of want to make sure that you would, because, man, we ain't never seen nobody come in there and throw up once and get back on the mat, let alone all day. And then the old man, he was like, and he goes, when we were doing the conditioning, he goes, I already see you know how to breathe. No, man, I was training there full time. Took my first pro fight within a year. Like I kind of like I crashed the learning curve because I started so late. You know what I mean? Like I just wanted to get in it. I did one smoker fight before my first pro fight because I just wanted to see how I was going to mentally respond. And like
You're breaking up.
I, I, I want
There you go.
Yo, check. Oh, there you go. All right. Hold on. Oh, wrong door. Hold on. I'm walking in the gym real quick.
Yeah.
How you going, guys? All right. Let me come back in the back corner. So, yeah, long story short, man, like I ended up like, I armbarred the guy, and just the fact that I dug so deep in my tool belt for something to finish the fight, I was like, man, mentally I might be ready. So I just jumped in the water, and then a short while later I ended up meeting you.
Was that your first fight? Was that one? Do you guillotine the guy?
Yeah, that was my first pro fight.
Okay.
Yeah, and but yeah, like I was saying before that, I did a smoker just because there was no amateur scene in California at the time. Like I came in right as soon as my pro career started. That's kind of when they started the amateur scene.
Gotcha.
But before that, there was no amateurs. But yeah, so then my first fight, man, like yeah, that was a fun night. Keep it real, dude. Actually, man, he kind of flash knocked me out. I don't know if you watch the fight, you'll see it. There's a point where I stumble. That whole time I was stumbling, I wasn't aware. And I remember bouncing off the cage, and I woke up, and I realized I didn't know how I got from where I just was to where I am. The crowd is going crazy, and it's not because of anything I did. And it just made me so mad. And fucking, like, I started the guy didn't like to get hit. So when I was firing on him, turning his head, he fucking turns into the fence, shoots that double leg, and man, like I got these skinny ass wrists and strong arms, and it was over.
So I mean,
man, it was. Oh, go ahead.
You got into MMA, and I mean, like you said, you kind of just jumped in the deep water. I mean, you had a smoker and a pro fight, and it's like you're like once you make that leap, you're a pro fighter. There's no going back from it, you know. And I mean, you've had quite a few fights. You've had a bunch of fights.
Yeah, I think I had like 13 or 14 total.
Yeah, so all this time you're learning, your craft is being a tattoo artist, and both of these take an enormous amount of discipline. You're learning techniques every day. You're perfecting the techniques. You're learning, new styles. Whether it's in tattooing, there's all the different styles to incorporate into that art, and there's also the same thing in mixed martial arts, as jiu-jitsu or wrestling or striking. They seem to meld really well together. Like I said,
absolutely.
My brother, who's got his tattoo shop down in Edgewater, forever I would go in there, and he was always been a power lifter, big ass dude, right? And so I would go in there, and when I started training at Vanderlei's, and I was winning these medals in jiu-jitsu and training with all these fighters, and he was like mad proud. He's like, oh man, my brother did this, my brother did that, and I'm like, why don't you try this? He's like, just like, I'm strong as fuck. And, he's big as hell, tattooed head to toe. Nobody was going to fuck with him anyway. I'm like, it's not for that. I'm like, just get in there and try it. And then he got in and he started doing jiu-jitsu. And he's like, man, I get my ass beat. I'm like, yes, you are.
Yeah.
By these dudes that you think you would fuck up on the street. And I'm like, that's the turning point when you realize, oh, just somebody being intimidating looking doesn't mean shit when you actually feel that somebody will fuck you up.
Yep.
Half your size, a woman, it doesn't matter. And so that's funny because now he's in the jiu-jitsu cult like we all get, like he's there every day training with monsters, and it's cool to see his progression and stuff like that. So like with your tattooing, I mean, like I said, the only reason I recognize you is because you were just on Ink Master.
Right.
How did that formulate? Like you were one of the early seasons, right?
Yeah. It's funny, man, because the way that ended up happening. So the wife that I had my daughter with, we kind of had a deal, and so when shortly after we had my daughter, she wanted to move back with her parents. And now, granted, her parents have like a 7-bedroom, 3-story, 5,000 square foot home just outside of Pacifica near the ocean. But man, I've been on my own since 17, being the man of my household. Right. So and now she was asking me to not do that. So we kind of came up with a deal. And what the deal was, if we moved to her parents for a year to save money, to like really just get a nice nest egg put together and make our next move, I could fight full time instead of tattoo full time. And then I was like, that'd be perfect, because I was at a pretty good point in my career where things started coming together, and I just looked at it like, man, if I fought full time for a year, by the end of that year, I could gauge, is this a realistic dream or is it just a pipe dream by the results of that year? Well, so we start that year, and Ink Master comes out. And the funny thing is, the very first time I ever watched Ink Master, my very first thought was, man, I'm probably going to be on that show. Because I knew, like it was a popular show, so I knew it was going to be around for a minute. And on top of that, I was like, man, if at the end of this year I make it to the UFC or, to a bigger promotion, and then I tie into, like, why wouldn't they jump all over that? So my wife starts seeing all these ads about, social media ads about Ink Master having a casting call. So she hits me, and she started, she would always tell me about him. And I'm like, man, I'm not tattooing. I'm not tattooing right now. I'll get on the next season. That show will be around then, and I'll be further in my career. It'll be even better both ways. Long story short, she ended up just submitting an application for me. And then, the rest is history. But, like, the cool thing about that is, man, like, I would say fighting absolutely helped my tattooing tons. And that is because of this. The self-honesty that you have to become a better fighter. Like, if I walk into a place and I'm like, my boxing's decent, but my wrestling sucks, and I have the choice of walking in the boxing ring or the wrestling mat, I should probably be smart enough to go walk towards that wrestling mat. You know what I mean? And go get it in with those guys. And so, like, once I started really doing that, I probably had never done that before the fight world entered my life. And once I started doing that, it just started filtering over into the areas of my life. You know what I mean? Yeah. And tattooing was the first area that it filtered into. And like, to this day, man, like, I'm so hard on myself. You know what I mean? Yeah. But like, the same way somebody has to be in the gym. One thing I learned in the martial arts world, especially in the combat sports world, man, like, fuck, never believe your own hype. Like, never think, you know what I mean? Like, once you think you're the shit, like, somebody, like, the MMA gods are going to show you you're not. Yeah. And so, and it's the same thing with tattooing. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like in tattooing, if somebody else praises my work, that's acceptable. If I praise my own work, like, and that's corny.
Exactly. Yeah. You never walk into a gym. I mean, I was in Vegas, so and once I got to a point where, I was trusted by the coaches, I was kind of seasoned. I trained with all the fighters. I was in a lot of the classes, and we would get that. We would get the guy come in who's all jacked up, and he's got his pool muscle on. He wants to, I'm coming in for a fight. I want to fight. And then they train with somebody that is, I was very unsuspecting looking. I was older. These are younger dudes coming in, and they're, and you wad them up, and it's like, oh, they never come back, So you got over to Ink Master, and it's funny because when you went to Ink Master, they touted you as the MMA guy, like the MMA fighter, and that was your character. And when I met you at Vanderlei's, I had mentioned that because I thought it was shitty because either you're a jerk, like watching this show, Mark's an asshole and he's gonna talk shit to people because he knows he can beat them up. But then I'm like, if he's an MMA fighter, if he's really a fighter, I've never met a fighter that has fought more than once that is that guy. Like I haven't,
absolutely.
you know what I mean? Like I've met guys that are like, I'm a fighter. You have one amateur fight and you're an asshole because you claim you're a fighter. Mm-hmm. But anybody that steps in there more than once, they don't have that attitude. So when I was watching the show, and I watch a show, like I had a custom car shop. I had one in Las Vegas, Lamborghinis, Ferraris, all that shit. And I always watched like West Coast Customs and shit. So it's the same type of thing. It's like a scripted type of a altered reality show.
Right.
When I'm watching them edit this, I worked on a lot of cars for counting cars and things like that, like in Vegas. And you see the story that plays out on TV, and you're like, that's not real at all. Like I know the real customer, I know the real car. What the fuck did they just make up? And
right.
So when I talked to you, I was like, you had the altercation with the other artist on there, and you were like, yo, I wasn't even in the same room when that shit went down. And I remembered that, and I always remembered that, and I was like, yeah. And then you see how reality TV like molds people against each other. It builds like these characters, good guys, bad guys, and you're like, damn, man. But so many people buy into it. Like, how did that affect once you got out of Ink Master? Like,
well, man, you know what? All right, so when I was going into Ink Master, I knew that they were going to try and make me that guy. So it made me, like, real talk, while I was on the show, I kind of looked at myself like, man, I have to be an ambassador for these people, and I need to conduct myself in a certain way. Well, not that I need to, because that's how I am. You know what I mean? Like, let me keep my composure a little bit more than I normally would, just for the sake. You know what I mean? And what's funny is Edge, like, each and every time I ever decided, like, anytime somebody was able to get me upset, they used it on fucking TV, and it was only twice. That situation with the guy that we were talking about, as well as like me and Tattoo Baby kind of butted heads a couple times. You know what I mean? And like, man, the way they edited that, like it's crazy. Like they made it to where she had a conversation with me that we never even had. I had this conversation with this person, and she must have had a conversation with somebody else, but they made it look like we were talking to each other. And like, man, to this day, I still haven't watched my entire season of Ink Master.
It's funny. I watched because I was just like, I wanted to refresh my memory on that scene, and it like there's highlights all over YouTube, and it was just that scene where the dude was talking shit to you. Yeah, and it's funny. You got up to walk away, and then he goes, "I'll choke that motherfucker out," or whatever he says, but he's looking at the couch.
Damn. Yeah.
I was like, I had already talked to you years ago, and I knew the story, and I was like, I would have never caught that, with the play. And it's like, man, and then it's like, why would you let? I get it. It's reality TV, like the shit that they spice up and all of that stuff. And I mean, but did it help or hurt your career once you left?
You know what, man? It absolutely helped. So before I went to do that show, I kind of had my own perception of what TV tattooers were, and so did pretty much my circle of friends. So I kind of expected to be like, I didn't care because I knew the money it was going to make me, because that's $1 million of warm market advertising. Because if you're watching the show, it's because you're interested in tattoos.
Right.
So I didn't care if it was going to make me any friends or not. But once I got out and I started getting on the road and doing conventions, because I would get, like I had the opportunity to do conventions for free, or even get paid to be at some of them and get flown out and stuff. And the way people accepted me, man, like I didn't expect the love that I got. Yeah. And a lot of times people would come up to me and they would be like realistically, I know that there are better artists than me on the show, but somebody would come up to me I thought is a tattooer that I look up to, and they would say, "You're my favorite artist on the show, man, because you never made excuses. Like if they called you on your shit, you would be like, fuck yeah, you're right." Yeah. While everybody else would just hide behind their ego. So like, it was cool to me. Like it was dope that even through all that fucking TV land bullshit editing, that people got to pick up on that part of me. And it was cool, man. I wouldn't be where I'm at now. I would have never lived in New York City if it weren't for that show. I probably wouldn't be in Florida right now. Like, man, like that show, like in good and bad ways, it changed my life because like as soon as I came home to my domestic situation fell apart. Let's just say it fell apart while I was filming.
Mm-hmm.
So like it changed my life kind of in a negative way that way. But at the same time, like on the flip side, man, it opened up so many doors. You know what I mean? So like it like and like I would say the main thing that I had to get used to is understanding that just because of like to me, like TV is nothing. It's not a credential. Like it's just fucking entertainment. It's what people do to it's what the powers that be use to keep people stupid. You know what I mean?
100%.
Because if I'm entertaining you, I'm not educating you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like I've never been big on TV, and I'm on it. I care about it even less after being on it. But like, so it was just dope that through what might be a negative medium, like I was able to get some positives out of it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I like ever since I met you, I've kind of followed your journey and the ups and downs and things you had to go through. And I have other friends that have kind of gone through same type of things with that, like domestically and things. And it's just like,
right.
It's hard. Like I don't have any kids, and it's hard to watch somebody go through this. But you always like, obviously what you put out may not be exactly what's going on, but you've always put out like a positive.
Right,
right. You've always kind of put out like, yeah, this sucks, but I'm gonna keep doing it. I'm gonna keep grinding. I'm gonna keep being there for my kid, and that's something that again goes back to, you know, it's ingrained in us, in a lot of us, and I think that's what once you find martial arts and you can really stick to it, it's those kind of people, you know what I mean? And you always think, yeah, this fucking sucks, whether it's training, whether it's work, whether it's family, but you go, all right, fuck it, I'm gonna go the next day. I'm gonna go harder. I'm gonna get better, and that's why I tell everybody, you know, try something, try martial arts. That's the same thing when I started. I have the whole Fight Chase website and podcast and all this shit now. It was because I started traveling. When I fell in love with martial arts, I was doing jiu-jitsu, smashing jiu-jitsu tournaments, doing everything I could, and then one of my buddies, he went to Thailand, and I'm like, we were already training Muay Thai. I was like, I want to go to Thailand. I went to Thailand, and I was like, holy shit. Why aren't people coming here? Why are people not? They're scared to get off the couch.
Bro, that's on my bucket list.
Yo, I basically live there, but I'm stuck here because of COVID. So, so like, as soon as I go back, you come through anytime. You got a place to stay.
Hey, it's funny, man. Me and my girl, we were just talking about our bucket list destinations, and Thailand was one of hers. And I was like, A, we are gonna go. B, we're gonna stay like 6 weeks because C, I'm gonna go train in the fucking jungles, and I'm gonna find a fucking fight out there.
Like, easy.
Yeah, I know. Like, if all you got to do is want to, and it happens out there, bro.
You can not want to, and they'll tell you, hey, you want to fight? They've tried to set me up so many times. Like, they're like, I remember I was in a gym training, and one of the trainers comes over. He's like, oh, you want fight? And I'm like, yeah, but I'm only here for a couple of days. I got somewhere else to go. And he's like, oh, I have a guy same age as you. How old are you? And I'm like, what? And then he's like, yeah, same size. How much do you weigh? I'm like, wait, you're asking him in the wrong order.
Yeah.
So he was like, I was like, nah, man, because they'll set you up. But if you go to a reputable gym, you know, and you put in the time, you could get a decent fight. If you're not there for a long period of time, you usually fight other foreigners that have been training there.
Oh, see that, man. I fight a local, bro. Like, why go all the way out there? Like,
and that's the thing is everyone goes to Phuket, which is where Tiger Muay Thai and all those gyms are. I've been there. I love Phuket. It's a beautiful island. But I've also trained in the middle of Bangkok. I've trained at the same gym with Sanchai. I've trained with the real Sagat, you know, Sagat Pechandi with the, you know, from the video game. I trained with him. I trained with like all the legends. I go and I train with them. And so I've been to some gyms, man. You'd walk in there, like you were saying, like the grimy gyms. I've been to a gym that you'd walk in there and you'd be like, holy shit, you know, this is out of like the 50s. And it's amazing. And you know that there's like staff creeping on that mat.
Right. But as it should be, though. You know what I mean? With all the sweat, blood, and grime that bro, like, I get, man, when I was like, I walked into, there was a few times, like I went to Church Street Boxing in fucking Manhattan before. And the first time I walked in there, man, like I was nervous as I'm walking from the street, and then I go down the stairs. But then as soon as I open the fucking door, I went to go spar with Liam McGarry of all fucking people.
Oh shit.
So yeah, I'm already nervous. I haven't sparred in a while. And like I ended up tattooing him, and we're talking about how I fought. So he pulled my card and he was like, yeah, man, we're doing this. And I was like, yeah, fuck it. Hey, bro, the whole way there, I'm on the subway, like typing out excuses of why I'm not going to show up, but just never hitting send. You know what I mean? But yeah, but as soon as I walked in that building, man, and you see all these old fight posters on the wall, and they're stuck on the wall because there's layers and layers of them. It's just, you understand what's been in there, man, and that fucking spirit just, like, best way I can put it, that spirit just fills you. And if you got it, you got it. You know, you're home.
Dude, when I get back, you hit me up anytime you're ready to come over. And if we can't meet up, I'm sure we can meet up because I travel all over there. But like, I could point you to a gym that would give you that feeling, like anywhere that you're at. You know, it's good shit. So I mean, so now where are you at? So you're obviously still training. I see, like I said, I watch you, and I know there's times that you don't post so much training. You're doing a lot of tattooing, and then you know, you start getting back into training. I mean, you always seem to like you're in good shape, so. Right. You know, that's obviously you got to still be working out somewhat.
Yeah, man. Well, I stay active, man. And like, bro, I'm 45, but man, I
just turned 46 2 weeks ago.
Hell yeah. High five, brother.
Right?
Yeah. But man, like, bro, then you know just as well as I do, like, man, a body at rest will stay at rest. A body in motion will stay in motion. And so like I've been lifting off and on for the past couple of years, but I haven't been doing any martial arts training. And I drove around, went to a couple of jiu-jitsu gyms out here, and fucking there is one jiu-jitsu gym out here, Tiger's Eye Martial Arts. I got balled up by everybody there, bro. And like, I don't suck, but I'm not the greatest. I've gone into gyms before and balled up everybody there, and I was like, I know I'm not that good. You know what I mean? Like let me go somewhere else. But I couldn't find any that would work, like had classes around my training schedule. Out here, it's weird. Like I'm used to places where gyms are open all day, open mat. You can come in with your buddies. You know, out here it's different. It's like real part-time because these people have jobs and then they just train their passion at night on a part-time basis, even though they have this facility that could be open all day. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I get it. And man, earlier this year, me and my girlfriend happened to be driving by and she was telling me about how she took her brother to a boxing gym over here. And I was like, there's a boxing gym here? And she was like, yeah. So we ended up pulling up in here, man. I came and met my guy, Rick. And like from the minute I walked in here, like I walked out of here and I told my girl, I was like, this dude's going to love me, man. Like, you know, like I'm sure a lot of people come in and talk, but like I'm going to come in tomorrow and I'm going to walk, you know what I mean? And like right off the gate, man, we got on such a good relationship. I started training boxing, which was always my first love, but I never focused on it at all. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I trained with them for a few weeks, and he's like, hey, man, we're going to go spar. Well, I got some guys going to go spar with some pro boxers if you want to come. It's at Pete White's gym. So about a week or two ago, we go there on sparring day. And, man, I only had enough of a gas tank for 2 optimal rounds, but I went with the 2 biggest hitters in the gym, and I held my own. And there was a guy there. I guess he's one of the promoters. He owns the gym, but he's also a promoter. He kind of heard my story and basically offered me a fight right then and there. He's like, man, if you think you can be ready in 8 weeks. And I really started thinking about it. I was like, fuck, man, I'm about to be 46. And I was like, but fuck it, I'm at a weight class where, man, it's not like I'm trying to get to be Tyson Fury. Man, let me just go fucking say I did that a couple times. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm probably not going to take the fight that they were offering me because I got some traveling coming up. But that network has been established. Yeah. So, man, like me and Rick, we just talked it out. I'm just going to take a patient route. And by the end of the year, man, I'll absolutely be taking a pro boxing match just for shits and giggles, bro.
Yeah. It's like being over in Thailand. I've trained at all these places and I travel a lot. And to get a legit fight, like, and not be a tourist, you have to be at a camp for a while. And so that's why I haven't fought in Thailand. And that's one of those things that people are like, you really going to fight in Thailand? You're going to take a Thai match? I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
And they're like, but, and I'm like, there's no but. What the fuck's gonna happen?
Bro, if you're cut from this cloth, you got to say you dance that dance at least once for yourself. You want to know what it feels like.
Yep. And yeah, you could do a smoker in the States or something like that. In Thailand, there's no option to put on pads.
Right.
It's not even a process. You If you take a Muay Thai fight, it's full contact Muay Thai rules.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right, you know, we're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. I'm not doing it like, you know, I'm gonna wear headgear and shin pads. You do that in the gym every day.
Right. Yeah, it's just another day of practice with a bunch of people watching. Like,
Exactly.
That's not urgent, man. Like, I'm the type of person, bro. Like, I felt like I performed better in my fights than I ever would in the gym, because in the gym it was never urgent. I'm not trying to hurt nobody. But like, for some reason, man, when that pressure gets turned up, like I'm fortunately, I'm one of the people who respond. You know, obviously I fought anybody. I was the kind of guy who would fight anybody. I fought a fucking black belt that outweighed me by 40 pounds, who's Dave Terrell's first fucking black belt, Nate Descharm. I don't know if you're familiar with who he is, but like, yeah, bro, like I would just fight anybody. No matter how much heart I had, I was outmatched. You know what I mean?
It just,
but like,
and that's the difference too, is like, you'll see once you get to Thailand, you're just going to fall in love with it, because they don't measure your skill to like, that's your bar. It's if you don't stop, if you got shitty fucking technique, they're like, we can fix that. If you don't have heart, get the fuck out.
Right.
And then and you'll see that, because like you'll go into a gym, even if you're at a gym for, you know, a week, 2 weeks, trainers won't train with you. There's some trainers that they're not going to waste their time. You're a tourist. You're just kind of there. You're not making them money. That's how they make their living. But if you're there, you're grinding. A trainer will come and talk to you. Come hit pads. All right, you hitting pads, and they become. It's this relationship that's built that we don't really get in the States, and there's so much tradition, behind Muay Thai, and it's so infused in life there. Like, it's mind blowing. You'll be walking somewhere and 20 motorbike taxis are pulled up in front of like a t-shirt stand because it's Sunday and the Thai fights from Bangkok are playing on TV and they're betting. It's wild, man. It's such an energy.
Man, I can only imagine, bro, because I see it like it's almost a religion out there. You know what I mean? Like, it's just got that much of a mass following. Yeah.
It's the national sport, so.
Who wouldn't want to go tap into that energy if you have that in you, bro? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's definitely on the bucket list, man. And like, shit, bro, I know my window of opportunity and age is closing, so I'll be taking you up on that offer, like,
of course, man.
Like relatively shortly, bro, for real. Because like,
I should be back in July.
Shit, well, by the end of the year, man, I would love to make that happen. Probably more towards the end of the year, so I could get financially ready for it. But absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. So like, I know you gotta go not too long. So where does your, like, you're gonna take a boxing where's your career going? Yeah, the one that actually makes you money. Like, how have you gone on with that?
Man, tattooing has been really good, man. I got a nice home base shop out here. A couple guys who worked at the shop. I came out here with a particular shop, kind of didn't see eye to eye with the owner on some things. We parted ways. I went with a few other guys who had opened a shop on their own a while back that I'd met through that shop. And like, man, it's just a real comfortable, cool situation. They know I travel a lot. Here in about 2 weeks, I'm traveling to California to go see my kids. I'll probably hit some mitts while I'm out there, you know, go slide by some of the old spots I went to. As soon as I get back from that, I'm literally home for a day, basically just to do laundry, and I'm going to drive up to North Carolina to go tattoo for a week out there. And then as soon as I leave there, I'm driving back to Florida, but I'm heading over to Tampa to open up a tattoo shop, to help a shop do a grand opening that's on an Army base, or no, Air Force base. A couple months ago, I was just back in Vegas, and I actually worked at the first tattoo shop to ever open on a military installment in the world. Yeah, and like, yeah, man. So like my tattoo career is going nicely, man, and it's just in my life, like, I've never been a guy who like had a big focus on money. Like, I mean, I've always had enough to do what I wanted to do, but I never had a fat bank account. You know what I mean? Like, and now it's getting to that point where like I'm starting to like really consider ways of residual income, creating T-shirts, merchandise, other things. You know what I mean? Like, just finding what, and also learning to invest, man. I got a few investments going right now, learning how to make money work for me. I never learned any of that when I was younger. Yeah. But like, the way I came up was kind of fast money anyway. So like, I just always had it, but it's obviously not like that anymore. You know what I mean? But like, it's cool because it makes you value it makes you put a different value on everything. So like I'm like, I feel like I'm finally at a point in life, man, where like I can look around me and be like, okay, I get it. I know what I'm supposed to do. You know what I mean? Like, just I've got a really good sense of fucking peace and clarity right now, man. And I want to take full advantage of that.
And I think it's different too because we've gone through a lot of shit. You know, I didn't have a rough upbringing, but I got into the wrong crowd.
Right.
I was in upstate New York in Rochester, and we had the gangs, and I was a graffiti writer back then, so you had crew beefs and all that shit. So it was like, you go down these paths, but it's all this experience that people don't get, and you're like, oh, I'll take this from that, and that was fucked up. I could have done some serious shit wrong that somehow didn't go that way, and then you go, all right, I'm smart enough not to get in that situation again, but it molds us where we are, and artists become amazing mixed martial artists. It's just the creativity thing. Bro.
It's all art.
It's the creativity, and it's like I haven't done graffiti in years, and then I started like learning Photoshop, and then started designing my own shirts, and I was training, and it's like all the creative juices have to keep flowing, and so you end up loving all that, but it's like it's just a different type of people, that get into the whole process. And I mean, you could go into a gym and you see the guys that just there for the training, They're like, I'm going to stay in shape, and that's cool because it's not for everybody, and you need those guys there, the guys that are going to do all the moves perfect, and you're like, oh, all right, I get it, and then you learn how to work around that. But
the drill partners.
Yeah. You're like, all right, and then when you go with them, they're not going to be ready for unorthodox shit that you do.
Right.
You're like, nah, see, this is where I'm creative.
Yeah, fact. I'm the variable.
Exactly. Like I was doing, 10th Planet moves when I was at Vanderlei's just because I read a book. Right. And people were like,
pulling rubber guards and shit.
Yeah, they were like, we don't do that. And I'm like, I'm going to do it. Because we don't do that, Yeah. Learn that kind of shit. But I don't think there was anything else, man. It's been awesome talking to you. It's good to talk to you.
Yeah, bro. Likewise. Good energy, brother. I enjoy doing this, for real.
Yeah. Anytime you come back on, and like you were saying, merchandise, man, we should partner up and do something.
Off top, bro. If you need some art, bro, like, man, let's do something.
I'm doing and then I was going to say, my buddy Bosco works at a tattoo shop in Ybor City.
Okay.
Over in Tampa. So
right.
That way. So I got homies all around you. So I mean, I reach out. There's opportunities all around you, man. So
hell yeah, brother.
Real good. And I'm gonna be working with a few of my tattoo artist friends to do a collection of tattoo inspired designs on your own. Like it's through my brand, but it's not it's not like I give you like, oh, this is for martial arts. It's literally you have open cart, and then whatever you want to draw up, if it's old school, if it's graffiti, whatever it is, we do a design and we split the profits on it, and you get all the credit for it. So I'm gonna do that with a couple of my buddies, and man, I'd love to have you do something like that. And
yeah, bro, let's work.
Fight shirt, whatever you want to do.
Bro, let's work. I'm with it.
Oh, cool, man.
All the
totally
above.
Appreciate it, man.
I raise my hand.
No, it's really good to connect with you again, man. Like I said, I followed your journey, ups and downs, and all that stuff for as many years. Fuck, it's been almost 10 years.
Yeah.
So
I know. I was thinking about that. I was like, because when we first touched base, I was like, damn, Vanderlei's gym. I was like, man, that was way back in the War Tape days. Man, that was back. Yeah. I was like, wow, that was a while ago. And I remember, you know what? I remember the whole reason I went to Vegas to train in Vegas was because I knew I was out of shape, and I didn't want to walk into my gym in Cali out of shape to start getting ready for my fights. Yeah. So I was like, yeah, let me go out there and get beat up and throw up out there a little bit.
Yeah. get the beginning process started, and then you don't have to do that at home.
Yeah.
Or any at the shop or anything that you want to promote? You got a website or anything you want to put out there?
Well, nah, man. With social media, I've just been running everything through my social media. My Instagram is Manifest Mark. I've got a Facebook like page, Manifest Mark, and I pretty much post all the same shit between that and Twitter, Manifest Mark. I am about to be getting my website back up, which will again be Manifest Mark. The tattoo shop that I'm at out here in Palm Coast, it's Elite Custom Tattooing. Lions Pride Boxing out here as well in Bunnell, which is right next to Palm Coast. Man, and just like, fuck. Damn, I'm trying to think. I'm drawing a blank.
No, it's all good. It's all good.
Just, man, my girlfriend right now, like, she's had a big fucking hand in me getting to the path that I'm on. Like, even like she meal preps for me. Like, half the reason I'm in the shape that I'm in right now is because of her. And like, she's got so much going on in the world, and she's so ambitious that, like, I can't help but be motivated. Like, it's dope to finally wake up with somebody who pushes as hard as I push. You know what I mean? And that's definitely something like I feel like I've been missing. And so, yeah, I'm sure she'll be happy to hear me talking about it. My kids, man, obviously my kids, Marco, Savina, my grandson, Kingsley, like, man, they're the whole reasons I do everything that I'm doing. Like, you know, walking down the wrong path earlier in life, man, like, I feel like I got a lot of things to do to, like, make sure I leave a good legacy. And that's all I care about doing. You know what I mean? I don't care about accolades, money, fame, none of that shit. Like, I just want to show my kids, like, no matter what, like, you can do whatever you want. Because the circumstances of my life have kind of shown that. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, man, like, it's dope connecting.
3 questions. So you're meal prepping. What's your favorite cheat food?
My favorite cheat food, man, I kind of cheat a lot. Like, bro, well, you know what? Like, I graze all day. I never eat like a huge ass meal. You know what my favorite cheat food is right now? Probably fucking pizza. Because it's like the most filling. You know what I mean? Like, it's like when you eat a good pizza, when you're done with the pizza, you're like, yeah, that was good.
Yeah, there's some really, really good pizza in South Daytona. I can't remember the name of the place, but it's Steel City Pizza. Shit's fucking bomb.
Fire. Yeah.
Oh, sick.
Check it out.
Music. What are you rocking to when you're getting ready to train and shit like that?
Oh, so I got all kinds of different. When it comes to, like, my training playlist, you ever heard of a band called Raised Fist?
Not sure.
They're kind of like, they're like a hardcore. Like, man, it's hard to explain. They're not big in the U.S. because they're kind of big everywhere else in the world. But, like, man, just like heavy shit, bro. Like, like Trivium. You know what I mean? Like, but sometimes I'll get swagged out and I'll be listening to, like, some Mozzie or some underground hip hop, rap.
Yeah.
Like, man, my musical tastes go all over the place. Like, Raised, like, man, check out Raised Fist, bro. I don't know what kind of music you like, but
I listen to Lionheart from Cali, Terror, you know, all the old hardcore, but I also listen to, like, Slain, Vinny Paz.
Yeah. Man, one of my boys, my boy who passed away, rest in peace, Brooklyn Payne, was one of Slane's best friends, man. So I was kind of tied in and connected with all those cats for a little bit. But yeah, man, and those are all some good cats, man. They're all some good people.
All right, the last one, I'm gonna let you bounce. Is do aliens exist?
Absolutely, bro. There's no, like, it all depends on what your definition of an alien is, bro. Like, I feel like we'd be really fucking arrogant and foolish to think that in this entire fucking vast universe, galaxy, whatever the fuck it is, that we are the only sustainable and intelligent life force.
Yeah, but do you imagine how many people do believe that? That's the problem.
Right. Yeah, I can't relate.
Nah, right? People are like, but where? I'm like, man, everybody's like, aliens from outer space. I'm like, there's aliens in the ocean.
Right,
shit that we don't even know about.
Bro, I've actually had that conversation with people. I'm like, man, everybody trips off of space. I was like, man, there's depths of the ocean that no man has ever gone to, where sunlight has never hit. And fucking, like, just a short while ago in Antarctica, they drilled a 30 fucking mile, like, they drilled like a 30-mile hole through this fucking ice cap to do some kind of research, and found a fucking life form down there, bro, that had no sustainable food source or fucking life. Yep. It was a very simple life form, but it's a fucking life form.
Exactly. And they're like, oh, well, this and that. I'm like, let's see. Dolphins talk.
Yeah. As do whales.
like they talk. They don't just communicate. They're like having conversations and shit. So you're gonna tell me that we're the most advanced? I can't hold my breath and live underwater.
Yeah, bro. Fact. Like all to me, the term alien means either foreign or unknown. So yeah, you know what? There's absolutely aliens every fucking where.
Yep, 100%.
You know what I mean? But like, there's so much shit. You're right, bro. There's things. Not only is there things in this universe that we'll never understand, bro. There's things on our own fucking earth that we don't know or understand.
We barely understand each other,
bro. Yeah, man. That's a whole nother podcast because bro. I feel like humans have been diminished to so little of what the fucking potential is, bro. Like, there's a lot of shit that got erased that we don't know because whoever had all that power before had it fucking wrong. You know what I mean? And like, we're in a process where we're relearning what our potential is now, and we're working against forces who know what our potential is and wants to dumb it down so that they can be that upper fucking hand. You know what I mean? We just have to want to be better, bro. At the end of the day,
man. In the whole all of society, it's just like put us in a bubble. And I mean, they've succeeded beyond anybody's expectations just in the last couple of years, like the last year, and people just you subconsciously just took it in and were like, okay, cool. And it's like, man, I don't get this, you know. Like you said, we could go to a whole nother conversation, but it's like people gotta understand. You gotta get out of your house. You gotta get out of your comfort zone. You gotta get out of your country. And
yes,
people
live
cultures. Say hello to strangers, you know, do all the shit they say we're not supposed to do. That's just to keep us scared of each other, to keep, you know, whether it's a color, whether it's a religion, that's all dumb shit.
Separation, bro. Separation fucking keep, like, if you can fucking prevent unity, you win.
100%, yep.
Especially if you already have a unified front.
You know a very strong one, yes.
Absolutely.
All right, Mark, let me let you go, man. Get your training in. It's great to talk to you. I'll hit you up again. I'll let you know.
Likewise, bro. Keep in touch, man. We'll always touch base and shit.
Of course, man. I'll talk to you later, buddy. Have a great day.
All right, brother. Stay blessed. Be safe.
Right, later.
Thank you once again for listening to the #1 combat sports podcast, the Fight Chase Muay Thai and MMA podcast. You can follow us on Fight Chase on all the social media, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, all that good stuff. And also, don't forget you can support us at any time going to the anchor.fm/fightchase, hit the support icon, and you can support us for as little as 99 cents a month. We truly appreciate it. Thank you for listening. And Kurt, don't say boom.
Boom.
Seconds remaining for a great survival story. She survived. It's good night, freaking Irene.
Hey guys, Kelly from Fight Chase. So today what I want to talk to you guys about is Project 52. Project 52 is a new project that I'm going to embark on hopefully July, August type of time when I get back over to Thailand. So most of you have known I left Las Vegas, came to New Hampshire, and then was basically living in Thailand. Came back for some visa stuff to the States, and COVID hit. So now here we are, over a year later, and we're just waiting for the travel restrictions and things like that to kind of ease back so I can get back to Thailand. But today we're talking about Project 52. Project 52 is something that I have dreamt up that I want to do, and I want to do with all of you. And what it is there's 52 weeks in a year, and I'm going to visit 52 gyms in 1 year. So what I'm going to do is 1 gym a week for 1 year. These are 52 different locations all over Thailand. I want to go up north. I want to visit some gyms that people may have never heard of. There's so many gyms that people have never heard of. So I want to I'll bring you to the big gyms. I'll bring you to the small gyms that maybe no one's ever seen. I'll just do these research and find these gyms and bring you guys to that. So this is a project that obviously I can't do on my own, as far as I'm going to be doing all the recording, all the editing, all of the research, scheduling, traveling, all of this on my own. The only thing that I'm going to need you guys to do, other than enjoy all the content, is the financial part. And if I had the money, honestly, I would just do it on my own. So I've set up a few different things that if somebody wants to help back this and kind of join in on the journey, is we have t-shirts. T-shirts really don't do much as far as put too much into money. If you buy a t-shirt, I believe I make probably $5, but that $5 is appreciated. It'll go right into the fund for the project. While I'm doing this whole project, I'll be doing writing an ebook on the travel, on the experience, and probably on maybe all the gyms and then section them. I'm not sure exactly how that's going to go. So again, that'll be one of the products that's going to come out of this. I'm going to be doing I'm looking over here, I apologize, it's where my notes are. I'm going to be doing a video of the training from each gym, just like I do now, but this is 52 gyms. Weekly content will be put out. So if I go to a new gym, you'll have a new video of the gym, kind of a tour of the gym. You'll have a new video of the training at the gym. You'll have more artistic line photos with my nice DSLR. I'm going to take photos of each location. You've seen some of the gyms that I've done, and I did it at some Arts Gym. I did it at 13 Coins. I've done some at Fairtex, like real nice high resolution, kind of more artsy type photos that people can enjoy, like Instagram looking photos. So you'll have a weekly journey recap. So it'll be me talking about how I got to these places. If you ever travel around Southeast Asia, you sometimes will get into cabs or a bus or a specific kind of vehicle to get somewhere that's not really known to other people. So it's part of the journey. I rode a bus in Cambodia that had no seats. They had bunks, and it was like an overnight bus. And after I rode it, everyone was like, "Oh, it's super dangerous," and I'm like, it wasn't very comfortable either. So like I said, we have the shirts. They're available through fightchase.com shop, and it's Project 52 shirts. Obviously, any of the other shirts there, they also will benefit this project because this is where all my money's going to go. I'm going to be doing a Patreon. It's already set up. So the Patreon, you have different levels of support, anywhere from $10 up to, and it's a monthly subscription, so you'd be paying, that amount of money going towards the project monthly. I also want to do a GoFundMe, kind of to get the project known, and you'll be able to donate there, like a one-time thing. The Patreon is an overtime thing, and there's different tiers, and the different tiers give you different things. Like, there's a tier that you'll get a t-shirt, there's a tier that your name will be in the credits to all the videos, there's a tier that you're the main sponsor. Then you basically, your brand company, and or if it was an individual person, would be marketed alongside of Fight Chase, as the journey would be brought to you by them. I kind of think of it similar as like if an athlete was sponsored by Nike, they're their main sponsor, and that's who's giving them the financial backing to embark on their journey. So that's kind of the financial steps as far as I have figured out so far. All of these will be set up. Like I said, the Patreon set up. We have Venmo and all that stuff. So if you get it, you just wanted to kind of donate a few bucks or something like that you could send that over to me, and it goes directly to this fund. This fund isn't going to be used to anything else other than making this 52 gyms in 1 year, 52 weeks, a success. Another thing that we'll be doing as in me. But if you help donate, you're part of this project. You're going to embark on this experience with me. You could even dictate kind of where you want to see next. If I'm in a certain region, if you've heard of a certain gym, you're like, hey, can you try this? Another thing that I want to do, I have a lot of friends now. I have a lot of friends in the industry. I have a lot of fighter friends. I have a lot of friends that go on vacation to Thailand. They're like, oh, I'm going to go for the Muay Thai holiday. Great. Hit me up. You can become part of this project. You will be with me. I'll take you to a gym. We'll record the whole thing. You'll be a special guest. I'm going to have some of my friends that are there, athletes, fighters, and things like that, join me on these things. So you'll have a different point of view. You can have me as a trainer from the States, as a enthusiast, my point of view of the gym, and then you could have in the same episode a UFC athlete, their point of view of the gym. So it's going to be kind of like a whole series. I mean, this is 52 weeks. 52 weeks is more than most of your TV shows will put out episodes weekly. That we'll be putting this content out. Me, along with your help. So I'm trying to. Anything else? I apologize. I'm just trying to speak and let you guys know exactly what I'm trying to do. So you've seen a couple posts that I've had up about Project 52. This is Project 52. Me, back in Thailand. 52 gyms, 52 weeks. Okay? 1 year of training. That's it. Now, you get to watch it. You get to have a say on where we go. You get to enjoy the experience. You get to see the ups and downs. There's going to be possibly injuries and sicknesses, or who knows? You know, it's a crazy adventure. All of this will be put out in video content weekly. And, you know, this is something that I like to do. The reason I started Fight Chase is to get people to understand that getting over to like Thailand or wherever your ideal destination is, it's not that hard. When we talk about Thailand, like on the podcast, so I started Fight Chase after a few trips over to Thailand, and Fight Chase was fightchase.com. If you've gone there, that's just my gym reviews, product reviews, where I came from. It's kind of like the epicenter of Fight Chase. And then I started the brand. So we had Fight Chase shop. So that's just where you can get merchandise like this. Ooh, if you know this logo, shame on you. That's okay. I know it too. And all sorts of different like cool martial arts type of shirts and things like that. I have hoodies. And these are all designed by me. I come up with the designs. I figure them out. I've learned Photoshop. Same as I've learned all my editing for doing the YouTube channel. Learned how to edit all the videos. And that's gone over to the podcast. We've had amazing guests on the podcast. If you haven't listened to the Fight Chase podcast, check that out. We've had John Wayne Parr, Khalil Roundtree Jr. We just had? I mean, we have so many episodes that I haven't even put out yet. They're amazing fighters, and I have DJ Jackson. I have, I have Mark Matthews from Ink Master. I have, Savas Michael from One Championship. We have so many people coming up, and we've had so many amazing episodes that are already out. So check those out. But I've learned how now we're putting out videos with those, okay? So I've learned that aspect of it. And what I do with all this is I just want to give you information to help you maybe take a step to make a journey to see that we need to be out and we need to experience things, you need to meet new people, experience cultures, travel. Like, we're not made just to do the 9 to 5 and be stuck in your house like we have been. So they couldn't think of a better time to really go for this ambitious project. Is as soon as I'm able to travel, to be out of this situation again and back into where I'm the happiest in Thailand, I want to bring all of you with me. I want to bring everyone with me. If you don't even help support this financially, please just join the journey. But this video is just me trying to show you the passion that I have, explain the journey, what we're gonna have to do to make it happen. Gotta make some money, unfortunately, but people get money to play video games on TV, so I was hoping that we can make this get rolling. I have a few businesses that are looking to come on board. I mean, I've always had great hope product-wise with like Defense Soap and a few other brands that have kind of given me product support. So this is going to be a big thing. That it's going to be a financial thing. All of my money is going to go to it for the next year to make it happen, and you know, that's what it is. Project 52, guys. Let's get it happening. If you come to Thailand, you're part of the show. If you're at home, you're enjoying the show. So thanks you guys for listening. Hope you understand how much this means to me, and let's make it happen. Have a great day.